Welcome, Jesse. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
coming on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books to discuss Dial A for Aunties.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jesse, this book was so funny and so entertaining. I
Oh,
really got
yay.
I got such a kick out of it. It's really funny. I loved it. And I
Yay,
know
I'm so
I'm not
happy
the
to
only
hear
one
that.
because already it's what, like number one in humorous American novels or something on Amazon, and it hasn't even been it.
Yeah.
Wow. How did
Yeah. How crazy is that?
so why don't you tell listeners what your book is about and what inspired you to write it?
Okay. So Dial A for Aunties is about a young wedding photographer who accidentally kills her blind date, as you do. And then she has to get the help of her very meddlesome mother and aunts to help her hide the body while at the same time catering to the wedding of a billionaire. So good stuff.
Oh my gosh. First, I have to ask right away, has this already been optioned as a movie? Because this seems just like a movie to me.
Yes, actually. So the movie rights have sold to Netflix. So that's really exciting. They
Oh my
have
gosh.
a director attached and a screenwriter. So things are moving along really nicely.
Wow, that's exciting, and I am not surprised it read
Mhm.
just that way. I can't wait to watch it as a movie as well. Oh my gosh. Um, so how did you think of this? And tell me a little bit
Mhm,
more. In the beginning of the book, you open up more about your own family and how originally your family was from
mhm,
China and you went to Indonesia, and I
mhm,
didn't even realize
mhm.
there was such a well, anyway, I shouldn't say I didn't realize. You came to Indonesia. Then there was
Mhm,
a language issue between you and your parents as they put you
mhm,
in different schools. And anyway, what some
mhm.
of you were speaking different dialects of Chinese and some in Indonesian, some in
Yeah,
English, and even communication became a challenge.
yeah,
So tell me a little bit about your
yeah,
global existence, if you will.
yeah. Yeah, so my family is a family of immigrants. We're all, I guess, ethnically Chinese because all of my grandparents immigrated to Indonesia when they were like little kids. And in order to like fit into like, the Indonesian culture, they changed like everything. Like they changed their Chinese names to Indonesian names to fit in better. And at first it was like going well, but then in the 90s we had like clashes, like ethnic clashes, and so then my parents sent me and my brother to Singapore just to make sure that we were safe. So my brother and I actually grew up with our cousins in Singapore, and the first language in Singapore is English. So that was what we kind of grew up like speaking. So we kind of forgot like our Indonesian. It was so bad. Our Indonesian is terrible. So then when my parents came to visit, it was just like really hard talking to them. They were like, "Why are you speaking English to us? Like speak Indonesian to us." And we're like, I would try, but I would be like, can I have like, that thing? And I wouldn't know like what that thing is called. So I'd be like, can I have that? Like that. you know, it's just like super broken and really horrible. Um, and then of course, like as teenagers, we were just so horrible, and we would like make fun of our own parents when they tried speaking English with us. And we'd be like, that's not how like this word is pronounced, and that was just like such a big divide in terms of languages between like the generations. And I really wanted to like address that in Dal A for Aunties. about how like in the in their efforts to like give my brother and I like a safer environment to grow up in. They kind of like uh it kind of led to this divide being created between our generations. Um, so yeah.
So your first language then was Indonesian, correct? And then you learned English in Singapore, or what? How did it work? Or Chinese?
So my first language was Indonesian up until like the age of 7, which was when I moved to Singapore, and then it became English. So then I have like a 7-year-old vocabulary of Indonesian. Like I can't even read like the Indonesian newspaper. But then I also don't really feel like 100% comfortable speaking English or Mandarin, because I picked them up when I was like 7. So I kind of feel like uncomfortable with all languages actually. But I guess I would say I'm most comfortable with English.
But see, that's so ironic because this book
Yeah.
is written so beautifully. I mean, it's
Thank you.
you would never know. I mean, you wrote it in English, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah, I did.
translated or
Yeah.
anything.
No.
Well, I don't know. I'm so impressed. I am not a big language person. I took French for like 100 years and I can barely remember how to ask for all I can remember how to say is like, can I sharpen my pencil, which is like the most useless phrase. Um, there aren't even people don't even use pencils, do they? I don't know. Anyway,
Yes.
so I'm always so impressed with people who have a command of different languages and that you have this sort of trifecta of them, this linguistic trifecta, and yet you've written this
Mhm.
beautiful book, which is so funny. So, bravo! I guess you get even more
Yay,
props.
thank you.
What was your process like for writing this book?
It was actually really surprisingly easy. So I'm a pretty fast writer, so it took me like about 6 or 7 weeks, I think, just to get like the draft out. And just writing it was so natural because I didn't know like the aunties personalities before I started writing it. But then as soon as I wrote like each scene, I was like, oh, of course, big aunt and like second aunt would have like this rivalry, and of course like mom and fourth aunt would just like really hate each other. um wait, okay, wait, I have to clarify, like not because of my mom and her sisters. They would like murder me. My mom and her sisters get along beautifully. So anyway,
I totally believe
yeah.
you.
I don't know where I got the idea from for all the sibling rivalries,
It's a
but
mystery.
somehow
It's
yeah, they just
total
popped
mystery.
into my head. And so I was like, oh my God, like, of course, they would be like making all these snide remarks and stuff. And I actually got so carried away with some scenes that I'm like, wait, what's the point of this scene again? Like, because I'm just having too much fun with the aunties just like arguing with each other. So it was the most fun that I've ever had writing a book.
Well, you can tell because you can just tell it's really fun to read also. Um, uh, and this isn't your first book. So how did you have another book come out like 2 months ago?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So this is actually, I think, my ninth book. And yeah, so I've had a lot of failures along the way. And actually, The Obsession, which came out 2 months ago, was my fifth book. So that sold in 2019. Yeah, okay. So it sold in 2019, and then in early 2020, I sold my children's book. And it was so funny because I told my agent, like, as soon as it sold, I told my agent, like, oh, forget about it. Like, I just wrote this book. this adult book, and I need you to read that now. Like, please just, drop everything else and just like read this one because I think it's something special. And so she read it and she was like, "Oh my God, like we have to go out with it now." And we went out to publishers with it right as New York went into lockdown. Um, and then I guess everyone was like quarantined at home, and so everything happened so fast. And then they were like, "Oh, we want to publish this, in April of 2021," and we were just so shocked by like how fast everything happened. And so yeah, it just happened that way, I guess. So what's crazy is that next year I will have 4 books coming out. So we'll see how I cope with that. Probably not very well.
So what are those books?
So next year I will have the sequel to Dial A for Aunties,
Oh, yay.
and yeah, 2 YA novels and 1 middle grade novel. So that'll be really fun. It'll be a fun year.
So how do you just crank these out? Where do you like to write? Do you outline first? Like what's your process?
Mhm.
How are you so efficient?
Yeah, so I like to say that I'm powered by caffeine and Asian guilt, which is, I know it sounds silly, but like it's so true because literally like about 2 to like 3 months after I sell a book, my parents will be like, "So when are you gonna sell the next book?" And I'm like, "Okay, the pressure's on." Um, so I do write really fast. Um, I've learned to write really fast ever since I had kids. Um, so I know that like I just have this, 1 to 1.5 hours in the morning before they wake up to write. So then I just get up and I'm like, "Right," really quickly, and then they get up, and that is it. Like my day is done. So ironically, this has kind of pushed me to learn to write really fast. And I do outline. So I find that the more I outline, the more efficiently I can write. So I guess at this point, I'm like approaching it more as like I don't know, like a project than like an artistic endeavor, I guess, like if that makes any sense.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like something you have to get done. It's on your to-do. Like you give a busy mom
Yeah.
something to do and you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Like I feel like the old me, like pre-kids, I had so much time and I wasted it all.
Yeah. I
Like
know the feeling
I
very
just
well.
like I wrote so much slower. Yeah, and I don't know like what I spent my time doing. I look back at like past me and I'm like, what were you doing with like all that free time?
So funny. Somehow though, when there's too much time, it's impossible to be effective. Like you need sometimes you just need that. Or a
Hmm.
certain personality type, I
Yeah.
think, needs the pressure of like finite periods of time to get things done, or else,
Hmm.
when I have the whole weekend, I get so much less done than when I have 3 hours on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, you totally understand because you're running, this incredibly successful podcast.
thanks.
Which I don't know how you do it because it requires so much like organizational skills.
Luckily, I have organizational skills.
So,
That's good.
yeah.
But really, I do it because I love it. I mean, how fun. Like, I also do things at the same time. I mean, I have to say I read, like, a lot of your book. My gym finally opened up in my building, so I could read on the elliptical machine,
Oh.
and I could read before bed, and
Oh,
I could read,
yay.
so I feel like and this
Yeah.
book goes so books go there's some that take me weeks and weeks and some that I can, like, power through because 'cause they're so, like, consumable. So,
Mhm.
I don't know, I think it's just how you use your time and
Mhm.
trying to Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what it's like, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's so funny that you say you read on the elliptical because I read on the treadmill. That's my reading time
Awesome. With an actual book or with an ebook, or how do you do it?
with my ebook.
With your
Yeah.
ebook, like holding it up or
Yeah.
putting it on the thing.
Oh no, I have like a little stand on the treadmill. So I'm like jogging really slowly and then I'm reading.
I try to I feel like it's a better workout if I don't use the arm things because then I have to use my core to not fall off the machine.
Ah, that's such a good idea.
It's
I'm gonna have
probably
to
a
try
terrible
that.
idea. I should not be recommending this, but it's true.
No,
I
that
like,
sounds
I
really
kind of
good.
like have to
Uh-huh.
twist a little bit as I am
Yeah,
reading.
yeah, yeah.
It
Yeah.
obviously isn't
No, that
working.
makes sense.
So,
No, I mean you look great from what I can see, like shoulders up.
yeah, shoulders up. That's how I'm going to live the rest of my life. After this pandemic is over, I'm just going to like
Yeah.
get some sort of giant box and like put it right here and anyway.
Oh my gosh, I hear you.
Oh my gosh, too funny. Um, well, having written 9 books, and having so much on the horizon, which is super exciting, what advice would you have for aspiring authors?
Um, what advice? Gosh, I have like so much and it's
Great,
so
go for it.
difficult to narrow it down, you know? So number one, my number one advice would be like to aim low because I feel like a lot of writers have really high standards and they're like, oh, I have to aim for perfection, you know, and then that kind of makes us procrastinate even more. But as soon as I started thinking like, okay, you know, my first draft can be terrible and I can just edit it later. That was when the words kind of started flowing for me. So, you know, lower your standards. It's gonna be okay. You can fix it later on. That would be my number one advice. And my number two advice would be to make as many author friends as you can because they're just the best. They're like the only people that understand, you know, what the journey is like. Because my family and friends, they, you know, I love them and you know we love each other, but they just don't really understand like what it's like to be, you know, querying agents or being on submission to publishers, you know, all the ups and downs. But you know, writer friends, they are your people, and they're the ones you want to like whine to, so you don't annoy your family.
So who are some of your writer friends and how did you make them?
Yeah, so it's funny that you should ask that because one of them is Lori Flynn, author of "The Girls Are Also Nice Here," which I think she came on your podcast
Yeah.
not long ago. I got to know her. Wait, I don't really remember. I think I just like messaged her asking if I could have an ARC of her book because it sounded interesting. And then as I read it, I kept messaging her and you know, and I was like, oh my God, I'm at this part. Like, you know, I can't believe this happened. And blah blah blah. And she didn't block me. So then I was like, yeah, you're my best friend now. But no, like we get along really well because we
Does
both have little kids.
she know that you're her friend? D
I know,
Does
I
she
know, right?
does does she even know has
Does
she
she
ever
know?
responded to you? Let's just be totally open here.
She might suspect it. No, we
Okay.
actually we talk every
Okay, phew.
day. Yeah,
I was starting to get a little worried. Not being blocked by
I
someone does not make you friends.
no, yeah, she luckily she was like really really responsive and we started chatting every day about, you know, how we like whine to okay, I whine to her every day about how hard it is to have like, to look after the kids and then like tackle edits or deadlines and things like that. So it's been so nice having someone who is like as driven, uh because like I think most writers aim for like one book a year, which I think is like really amazing already. But then Lori and I are just really intense and hardcore. And so we're like, 2 books a year. Yeah. Without really understanding what the ramifications of that are. Which is that, we don't have time for anything else. So it's just like writing and then kids and then writing and kids. So it's really, really nice to have her to share this journey with.
Awesome. Well, you can always
Yeah.
commiserate with me. I feel like I have no time either. And I
Yeah.
feel like nobody has any time anymore.
Yes.
But that's so nice that you guys connected
Yeah.
like that. And that's awesome.
Hmm.
Who knew? And what a great way
Hmm.
to reach out. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, wait, by the way, where are you in the world? Are you in the United States or where are you?
No, I'm in Indonesia. So it's actually 10:25 p.m. here.
Wow. Um,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
good to know.
wild.
Okay. I just couldn't tell. Sorry, that question sounded totally random, but I was wondering if you were like around the corner or very far away, and there you are. So excellent. All right. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for this totally entertaining read, which I completely enjoyed, and for an equally enjoyable little chat this morning. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really love your podcast.
Thank
And I
you.
just love that it's like so, mom geared.
Thank you.
Like I just relate to it so hard, which is so important like during, this time where we're all kind of locked away in isolation. So it's actually been um a bit of a lifesaver.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. Well,
Mhm.
I appreciate that and delighted to have you on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, have
Yay.
a great day, Jesse. Take care.
Yeah, you
That's
too,
it.
Zibby. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
My
Bye.
pleasure. Bye bye.